What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and thank y'all for tuning in. As always, I really appreciate you guys. Coming up this weekend, we got some more off-season Supercross racing action with both World Supercross and a race that has an even better lineup than World Supercross with the 42nd annual Paris Supercross. And every year this is an epic event. I think it's one of, if not the oldest running off-season Supercross in the game. And this year, as always, the lineup features top AMA Supercross racers and champions, along with the fastest kangaroo brothers the moto world has ever seen. And in today's video, we'll go over all the top riders attending, the entry lists for both classes, how to watch this thing, when to watch this thing, a track preview, and of course the predictions. But before we get into all that stuff, if you watch my videos, you probably know the drill by now. I got to give a huge, massive thank you to my channel sponsors. ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, Serious Studio who can take care of all your merch needs, and then the DesignLabCo.com. They got some great designs in their lab at their co, and if you guys buy from them, a small slice of the sale goes to me to help support the channel and keep us going. So if you support them, you are literally supporting me. And shout out to Simplify, a brand new sponsor of the channel. They're an automatic booking and payment system built for solo entrepreneurs. Whether you're a moto coach, trainer, or really any kind of business where you have clients booking you, Simplify will make your business way more efficient, way more profitable, and it'll make your life way the hell easier. Go to simplify.earth to sign up and use the code MAT9509 to save. I have all the rest of my links and discount codes in my video description, and I hope you guys enjoy today's video. To start off, we'll talk about some of the top dogs that are attending Paris Supercross this year. And historically, this race always has one hell of a lineup, as past champions include guys like Ken Roczen, Marvin Musquin, Justin Barcia, Jason Anderson, Weston Pike, Eli Tomac, Jake Weimer, even Kyle Chisholm chizzed to a King of Paris, James Stewart, Chad Reed, Justin Brayton, Andrew Short, David Villeman, Jeremy McGrath, Jeff Emig, Michael Rocco, and tons more. If they've ever done anything in Supercross, there's a really good chance they've been to Paris. And to be honest with you guys, I have no idea how they continue to get such an awesome lineup, and they're able to pay these guys top tier money to show up, and the event somehow must still be making money because it's still viable and still going on. But like I said at the beginning, this year is no different, as both of these guys in this photo will both be in the lineup. And I feel like the biggest names are probably the Lawrence brothers. No offense to this guy, but the defending champ from last year in both Supercross and the Paris Supercross is Cooper Webb. And in years past, it kind of seemed like Coop was fully mailing it in at the National, just showing up for the show-up money, grabbing the check, riding around, and heading back stateside. But as of last year, it seemed like he really started to emphasize these off-season races, and he really used them to learn from the Lawrence brothers. And speaking of the Lawrence brothers, they'll be in the cut as well, both Jett and Hunta, and as you see in this picture, they've even gotten a little bit cheeky with each other at this race. But last year, they came into this one with the new generation Honda. We actually saw some struggles from both of the brothers, looked like the setups were off, and it looked like a big learning experience. But this year, they're coming in with tons of momentum, a bike without major changes, and I think we're going to be hard-pressed to see anybody take them down. But we still got more big names in the tank. Next up is Malcolm Stewart, surely using these off-season races to try to save up some money for a new boat. But every year Malcolm's been to this race, he's been a serious factor for the win. He's always good here. This race always has some massive whoops, and you know Malcolm smashes those. He got his first AMA Supercross win last year. He might have missed SMX, but I'm sure he's healthy now and he's ready to send it. And last but not least, and probably the most intriguing on the so-called big names list, is Tom Vialle. And we've seen Vialle in Supercross, two-time 250 champion and all that. We know what he's made of, but he's going to be making his debut on his new ride for 2026 on a factory Honda, as he's going back to MXGP and racing for them. And not only that, but it's also his first 450 race as well, so he's getting two birds stoned at once, two debuts at one race with zero choice. But that's my list of the top dogs. Like I said at the beginning, I'll give you guys my predictions for what I think's going down this weekend at the end of the video. But in regards to the entire entry list, starting with the SX1 or the 450 class, you got the number 1 of Cooper Webb. Jess Pettis is on the list, but I just read today that he'll be out due to injury, which is a huge bummer. Then we've got the 16 of Tom Vialle, the 18 of Jett Lawrence, 27 of Malcolm Stewart, the 31 of Adrian Malaval, who I believe just won the Finland Supercross last weekend, the 53 of Roman Pape, Pepe, I don't even know, but he rips, the 72 of Lucas Imbert, who I actually raced as a kid on a 65 and an 85 back in the day, the 85 of the French legend Cedric Soubeyras, 86 of Mitchell Harrison, the 91 of Paul Haberland, the 96 of Hunta, 103 it's not Tortelli, it's Scotty Verhage, 137 Adrian Escoffier, the 384 of Lorenzo Camparisi, and the 692 Spanish racer Ander Valentin. The 450 class is very much the premier class of this event. They always stack the deck way harder in this class than the SX2 class, and I've said it before, I guess I'll say it one more time, this year is no different. The lineup is sick and the racing is going to be awesome. Then you got the SX2 class, or the 250 class as we call it, which is also part of the French SX Tour. And like I said, this lineup isn't near as star-studded as the SX1 lineup, but These guys are all still going to be hungry, they're all still going to be sending it, and if I had to guess, the SX2 racing might even be better than SX1, because while these guys are a little bit less experienced, I'm sure they want it just as bad, and that's going to lead to some chaos. And speaking of chaos, I'm pretty sure that's what we're about to get with me trying to pronounce some of these names, but in the 250 class, we got the number 3 of Jake Cannon, the 4 of Luke Clout, the 11 of Calvin Fonvale, 22 of Mikhail Lamarque, 27 Hugo Manzado, the 62 of Kalana Humphrey on the Stark Vargs. We're going to have some electric versus gas nationals. The 96 Carl Osterman, 172 Matisse Borromé, another kid that I raced back in the day, the 259 of Julian Lebeau, the 335, it's not Vamos Enzo, but it's Enzo Polias. The 388 is Andrea Bonifacio, I'm not sure. I thought it was Steve Boniface for a second. Maybe it's his cousin. The 389, Jules Pietri. The 505, Dorian Koch. 606, Killian Vincent. We got the 744 all the way from friggin' Morocco, Saad Soleimani. The 900 of Paul Bloy. And last but not least, the 945 of Anthony Bourdon. And for those of you in the United States, you may or may not know a lot of those names, but let me tell you, they're fast, they're legit riders, and they're going to provide us some awesome racing. It's guaranteed to be in the contract. And they've also got FMX, and I only know one person on this list, so I figured this would be funny to try to say these names too. We got Julian Van Stippen, Rob Adelberg, Andrew Anaconda Guy, and then Nicholas Texier. I think that might be a Timu Jordi Tixier. But those are the rider lists. Now we'll get into the format as to how this race actually works. It's a Saturday-Sunday affair, 2 nights of racing, 3 mains and Super Pole each night. And there is one more class that I did not mention for 125s called the junior class, and I did not know any of the kids in that lineup, so I wasn't going to bother you with me butchering any more names. But they get a race right after the practice sessions, but for SX1 and SX2, you get a couple of practice sessions during the day. Then there's the Super Pole session for, I believe, the top 6 in time qualifying. And for anybody that doesn't know what Super Pole is, it's probably my favorite part of the event. Each rider gets a fresh track all to themselves to throw down one heater fast lap time. But it's always a treat to watch the top guys in the world throw down on a fresh track all by themselves, just going as fast as they possibly can. And I don't even think it's for points. I think it might just be for pride or maybe even a gate pick. But then for the night show, 3 main events each night, which makes 6 main events total for the weekend. And then at the end of the weekend, they calculate all the scores from all 6 main events to decide who are the king and the prince of Paris. It's Olympic scoring and it's pretty simple. The lowest score wins. Here's an example from last year's race. These are the 450 results from 2024, and as you can see, Cooper Webb was on top, and he only won 1 main event out of all 6 on the weekend. But what he had in his corner was insane consistency. He never finished worse than 3rd place all weekend, while the fastest guy at the race and the guy who won almost every main event, Jett Lawrence, despite winning almost every single dong measuring contest on the weekend, he paid the price for 1 bad score as he won 5 of the 6 main events, but then he got a 13th in the 1 main that he didn't win. And as you can see just ahead of him, even Malcolm Stewart's consistency that was just barely off Cooper Webb's was still good enough to beat Jett Lawrence in the overall. So it's pretty sick. 6 main events, they all count, no drop scores, and no choice. Now, let's get into how to watch this shindig, because who wants to miss the action? I know I don't. As far as TV goes, I have no idea what channel it might be on or what countries it might even be shown in. I'm sure you can bootleg it off YouTube the next day or something, but if you want to watch it legit, live and up-to-date coverage, then you can do so on MXGP TV. It's a pay-per-view national, $23 US for 2 nights of Supercross racing. So I don't know about you guys, I don't think it's too bad. I'll be biting the bullet. And don't worry guys, I've had experience with MXGP TV before. It always has, and I'm pretty sure it will work better than the WSX stream last weekend, so you should be safe on that one. But that's where you can watch it. If you want to know when to watch it, on Saturday it's all going down at 6 p.m. local time, which is 12 o'clock noon Eastern time and 9 a.m. Pacific. Then on Sunday it all starts at 1 p.m. local time, which is 7 a.m. Eastern or 4 a.m. Pacific. Set that 3:55 a.m. alarm clock and get after it. But that's when it's going down. That's where it's going down. I'll be tuning in, and I hope you guys do too. Winding down the video here, up next we'll do our track preview, and these Paris Supercross tracks are not the biggest tracks, the lap times are a little bit short, but they always seem to have all the main obstacles on them. And just from above right here you can see it's pretty much got all the main stuff, a couple of rhythm sections, a big ass finish line, a huge set of whoops, and even a little bit of sand mixed in there. But here we go for a 1 lap preview. You got the start right in the middle of the stadium, in between the whoops and the finish line, into a left-handed sweeping first corner. It's kind of a double apex first turn as you sweep into a 90 for the first part of the corner, and then you get a little single that's part of the rest of the track that you got to jump over on the way into the second part of the first corner. But 2 90s to the left, right into the first rhythm section, which at first glance kind of looks like it's going to be a double in, then a triple, and then maybe a quad over that tabletop and the last 2 singles on the way out. And by all means, please feel free to argue about whether that's a quad or not in the comments. But maybe if you got maximum HPs and some big ass kahunas, you could triple out of that corner, then triple onto the tabletop, step off, and single into the corner, or maybe even a 3 quad over the tabletop and then double in, but I'm kind of getting out of hand here. But out of that first rhythm, then we got our first big, nice bowl corner, a 180 to the left, and then coming out of that, you got a small pop double that leads you right into the finish line, yacht, lay on the finish line, and immediately get on the binders as you got another 90 to the right, across the start straight, and then you got a small triple into another 90 to the right, out of that corner, then you got your Supercross triple, and depending on the length and the girth of that triple, maybe that could open up some passing options in the corner before if you got to go wide to send it, but land the Supercross triple, then you got another bowl corner, this time a 180 to the right, then we got our whoop section, and the whoops at this Paris race are always huge, steamrolled, they hold up all night, they're always a factor, and this year should be no different because they're coming right out of a bowl corner. I seem to remember the whoops having a little better run up in years past, so that'll be a crucial part of the National. But if they build according to the map, it's looking like a pretty tight squeeze, right out of the bowl corner, then the big ass swoops, and then right into another bowl corner. This time it's a left-handed, not quite 180, but a left-handed close to a 180, and then that sends you backwards onto the start straight, and then you're into a sand sweeper, and we all know that's everybody's favorite part of Supercross, especially the riders. Who doesn't love getting sandblasted down their crack? Well, okay, I kind of don't, but that's beside the point. But then out of the sand sweeper, then you got our second of 2 rhythm sections, and this one has got a step on, step off to start with, and then maybe a triple and a double. But maybe if you get a good drive out of that sand and you can seat bounce the single over table, then you can go triple triple, which looks like it would be a way faster option. But out of that rhythm section into our final 90 to the left, and then out of that corner, you got another step on, step off with a single at the end. So it's looking like 2 distinct options. You either go step on, step off single, or you can try to do the same thing that I talked about in the last rhythm, seat bounce the single over the tabletop and then double out back onto the start straight. But that's a lap around the 2025 Paris Supercross track layout. Always a good track, always a good build, and it always provides good racing. I don't know if you guys can tell yet, but I'm kind of high on this event. It's going to be a good one. And last, but certainly not least, the most fun part of the video, my predictions for what I think's going down this weekend. First off, starting with the 450 class, I'm keeping it pretty basic and not really going out on a limb at all, but I'm going with Jett Lawrence for the win, Hunter Lawrence for second, and then Cooper Webb for third. That's what I think's going to go down in a perfect world, but remember, there's 6-min events and no drop scores, so one mistake could throw all those predictions upside down. And finally, the SX2 class. This one was a little harder for me because I don't quite know every name in the list, but I think I got my top 3 pretty solid. For the win, I'm picking Luke Clout. Then for second, I'm going Anthony Bourdon, although I know he had a massive injury last year, so I'm not even really sure if he's full force from that, but if he is, he'll be up front. And then for third, I'm going with French SX specialist Calvin von Vialle. But there's guys on that list that I didn't even know existed until about 20 minutes ago, so we could be full of surprises in this one. You never know. But that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully that info got you guys hyped up for some more off-season Supercross racing that's going down this weekend. As always, please direct all comments, complaints, tears, etc. to the comments section, or if you actually liked the video, feel free to let me know. I know I just said thank you, but seriously, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back for a post-race review from both days of the Paris Supercross. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and hope you enjoy the future ones. We're out.